It all started on what I thought would be a regular Tuesday. I pulled into my usual parking spot outside the HOA office. Nothing new, nothing dramatic, until I heard that sharp knock on my window. There she was, you know the type. Clipboard in hand, tight smile, the unofficial queen of the Homeowners Association. She told me, in the most patronizing tone imaginable, "You're not allowed to park there. That's reserved for HOA personnel only." I just stared at her for a second, trying not to laugh, because here's the kicker. I am the person who leases that office space. Yep, I rent it directly from the HOA itself. She had no idea. This wasn't just a misunderstanding, it was a full-blown HOA showdown in the making. I could see it in her eyes. The determination, the power trip, the absolute confidence that she was in the right. She didn't ask questions, she didn't check facts. She just saw someone she didn't recognize and jumped straight into enforcer mode. I wanted to explain, to clear things up. But then I thought, why not let this play out just a little longer? She had no clue who she was messing with, and things were about to get real awkward for her. So yeah, that's when the fun really began. So, here's the backstory. A few months ago, I signed a lease for one of the office spaces inside the HOA's main building. They had a few units available, and I needed a quiet spot for work, so it made perfect sense. The lease included a parking spot right out front, clear as day in the agreement. But apparently, this little detail never made it to the clipboard patrol's radar. Now, I'd seen her around before. People in the neighborhood call her HOA Karen because she's always out front, watching everything, jotting things down like she's writing a novel. I tried to be polite, even friendly. But today, she wasn't in the mood for small talk. She had that look, like she'd just caught someone sneaking into a VIP area. She started grilling me. "Do you live here? Are you visiting someone?" Because these spots are strictly for authorized HOA use. I told her I leased the office, but she just narrowed her eyes, clearly not buying it. I could tell she wasn't going to let it go. What made it even stranger was that she seemed personally offended. Like me parking, there was some sort of threat to her authority. But here's the weird part. Why didn't she know I was a tenant? Wouldn't someone on the board know who leases their own building? At that point, things were getting weird. I figured a quick visit to the HOA office would clear everything up, but the door was locked. Lights off. No one inside. So now I'm standing in the parking lot, awkward silence hanging between us, with HOA Karen watching me like I was trespassing on sacred ground. She started snapping photos of my license plate, muttering something about reporting this to the board. That's when I realized, maybe this wasn't just about a parking spot. Something deeper was going on here. I'd been leasing that office for months, always paid on time, kept to myself. But no one from the HOA had ever officially introduced themselves, and the lease was handled by a property manager, not the board directly. So maybe she didn't actually know who I was, or maybe she did, and that was part of the problem. A neighbor later told me there's been tension in the HOA lately, some longtime members upset that office spaces were being rented out to outsiders. I had no idea I was part of some turf war. Meanwhile, she kept circling my car, still talking into her phone. I didn't know if she was calling the HOA board or the parking enforcement. Either way, I stayed calm. But in the back of my mind, I started to wonder, was this really about parking, or was I caught in the middle of something way bigger? I stood there trying to stay cool, but inside I was boiling. She kept pacing, loudly describing my car over the phone like I was some kind of criminal. Grey SUV, no HOA permit, parked illegally in front of the main office, she said, as if the space I lease wasn't mine to use. I didn't want to cause a scene, but this was starting to feel personal. She wasn't just enforcing rules, she was making a statement. I pulled out my phone, opened the lease agreement, and scrolled to the section that clearly listed my designated parking spot. I tried showing it to her, but she waved it off, saying, That's not valid without board approval. What? Since when does a signed lease from the property manager suddenly not count? Something was off. Then it got weirder. A few minutes later, another board member pulled up, someone I'd never met. Karen walked right over to her, whispered something, then pointed straight at me. They both started walking toward me with that same, we're in charge energy. No introductions, no questions, just more accusations, more suspicion. Now I was surrounded, standing in front of my own leased office like an outsider. I could feel eyes from nearby windows, watching the whole thing go down. And that's when I noticed something that changed everything. As the second board member approached, something caught my eye through the glass door of the office. There was a printed notice taped inside, something I hadn't seen before. I squinted and stepped a little closer. It was a flyer for an upcoming HOA board meeting, and right there, in bold letters, was my business name listed under agenda items for discussion. No one had told me a thing. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just some nosy neighbor throwing her weight around. They were planning something, and now I was starting to think they didn't want me there at all. Maybe leasing the office to me had stirred up more trouble behind the scenes than I realized. Karen noticed me looking and snapped, "That's HOA business. Tenants aren't supposed to be involved." But how could I not be involved when my name was on the agenda? Then the second woman asked for my driver's license, said they needed to verify my identity before they could let me back in the office. I told her no. That's not how leases work, and it definitely wasn't in any rules I'd agreed to. But now it felt like they were trying to push me out, without saying it directly. The pressure was building fast, and just when I thought it couldn't get any stranger, someone else showed up. Not from the HOA, but someone I definitely wasn't expecting. Right as the tension was reaching its peak and both board members were pressing in, a black sedan pulled into the lot and parked in the spot next to mine. Out stepped the property manager, the same guy who signed my lease, the same one Karen had probably never met. He looked confused at first, then saw them, and immediately walked over. "What's going on here?" he asked, not angry, just firm, like he already sensed the mess. Karen jumped in with her usual confidence, rattling off something about unauthorized parking, potential trespassing, and how this individual was refusing to provide ID. The property manager didn't even blink. He calmly looked at her, then at me and said, "He leases the office right there. That spot is in his lease. It's valid. You've made a mistake." Karen went quiet. So did the second board member. You could feel the air shift, like a balloon just popped. For a second, I thought that was it. Conflict over. We'd all go our separate ways. But then came the twist. The property manager turned to me and said, "Actually, you might want to check your inbox. There's been a vote to terminate all third-party leases, including yours. It wasn't supposed to be effective yet, but looks like someone jumped the gun." So yeah, technically I won that moment, but turns out the fight was just beginning. I checked my inbox that night, and sure enough, there it was. An email from the HOA board, timestamped just an hour before the confrontation, saying my lease would be terminated in 30 days. No explanation, no conversation. Just a cold, quiet decision made behind closed doors. It all made sense now. Karen wasn't just randomly patrolling the lot. She was trying to force me out before anything official went through. Whether she knew the vote was premature or not, I'll never know. But the fact that the board acted without informing me first said everything. I didn't put up a huge fight. Honestly, I didn't want to work somewhere I wasn't welcome. But I did make sure to leave on my terms. I spoke at the next board meeting, laid out everything that happened, and made sure it went on record. The whole neighborhood showed up, and let's just say, Karen wasn't the center of attention in the way she liked. So yeah, I lost the office space, but I gained something better, clarity. These HOA power trips weren't about rules. They were about control. If you're ever caught in something like this, read the fine print. I didn't put up a huge fight. Honestly, I didn't want to work somewhere I wasn't welcome. but I did make sure to leave on my terms. I spoke at the next board meeting, laid out everything that happened, and made sure it went on record. The whole neighborhood showed up, and let's just say, Karen wasn't the center of attention in the way she liked. So yeah, I lost the office space, but I gained something better: clarity. These HOA power trips weren't about rules, they were about control. If you're ever caught in something like this, read the fine print, document everything, and stand your ground. You might not win the space, but you won't lose your voice.